Hi everybody, this is Lily here. Guess what I want to talk about today? Savior programs. Um, I know it's been long overdue. I did mention quite a few times a Savior program before, and so I think right now is a good timing to to get into it a little bit more deeper. And so I know it's been here. This is my chart over here, and this is the only way it can work. So I'm going to bring this up and this part right here. This is about the mind control souls, and in here we have the mental savior program. And I had this chart for a while now, for quite a few months, and I kind of got into all these programs before, but the specific one, the Savior program, is what I wanted to get a little bit deeper into today, and just sort of, how to say this, just kind of give my perspective on it. How do I see it? Um, because the Savior program is something that's been used to harvest souls on this planet for a long, long time. Look at the history. Just even let's look at the history that we do have. Let's look at the Bible. I mean, the Bible is full of Savior programs. It's just, uh, you know, and we even have sort of a remake of the same Savior programs, like with the Jesus. There is a second coming of Jesus that is supposed to come, and it's supposed to be a little bit different. So, they get makeover, the Savior programs, all the time. But since we have this Jesus program, that the most sort of obvious with Christians right now, I mean, I call it a Jesus syndrome, because everything else is built on that. The thing about Savior program is that for them to be able to present you with the Savior, there's gotta be something that's opposite of that Savior, that's very bad, that you need to be saved from, no matter what it is. It could be the devil, it could be the Antichrist, it could be all kinds of things. But because it is rooted in duality, the Savior cannot exist without, so like Christ consciousness here cannot exist. That's a Savior program, cannot exist without there supposedly be the Antichrist. Okay, so the Savior program is very easy to program, and we do get programmed with it on every level of our lives. Okay, let's start from a very young age. As soon as we grow up a bit, what happens? Cartoons, TV, school, even the family, like a dynamic of our family is infected with that Savior program. Like you would see commercials about, oh, good old family, and what's going on usually? There is a Savior. Dad saves the day, and gets this or gets that. So there's a lot of that hero. Hero is another, Savior program, and everything in our life is infiltrated with that. How many hero movies do we have? Every movie, almost every movie, would have some kind of hero or someone who saves the day. We are programmed with that on every level of our lives from the very young age. Now, we've talked about this before. Why there is a need, such a need for that programming? Because through this Savior program, this is how they harvest your soul. Because that's the only way. Because the reason you're willingly going to sell your soul or give it to somebody to save it is when you think that there is something that you need to be saved from. So what we have right now, we are in harvest. Okay? There's a huge soul harvest. There is a problem. The harvests before, things were working fine. You know, they'll give everybody a prescription for a savior, and everybody buys that pill, gets that pill, and swallows it. Well, this time, humanity is not swallowing that savior pill that easily, and the Earth timeline activated, and we're moving into our own self-empowerment. And if we move into our self-empowerment, that means we are here. Even those people that have been here, they're here, and there's no hierarchy, and there's equality in everything. So there's no need for any kind of saviors. So people right here, 15%, are not swallowing that pill. Well, there's a universal law of 10 folds that actually activated, because of this 10%, activated this Earth timeline. And so now the harvesting path is going a little nuts right now. We see this a lot, especially in the last few weeks. I've seen so much of this sort of Jesus complex showing up in every sort of layer of my life. And online, it's just been crazy. A few weeks back, this lady started writing me private emails, and she was going around and around and around, and it just felt something was wrong. She was really nice and sweet, but it felt fake. And so she was asking me questions, and she was trying to trigger something, I think. And I was just like, what, where are you coming from? And it got to the point, I was trying to find those emails, but I couldn't. I just got so many emails that I had no idea how long it will take me to find that email. But eventually, in our chat, she had said to me that she was sent by Christ, or Christ consciousness, I'm not sure, to help me from making the biggest mistake of my life. I was like, whoa, okay. All right, lady. And it went religious very quick after that. I am talking about, you have to accept Christ, but yet she started sort of new agey, which was interesting. I'm like, how did these people find me? How did they find me? Then we also seen it in the group quite a few times when people just like, coming in there and you feel like something strange, and they sort of have this strange posts and everything, and just a few days ago we had that lady, and then you ask her, who's your God? If you are so pro-God, well, I stand with Christ. So, so I guess Jesus syndrome is activated now. It's and then very recent events again. But for some people, with with me coming out and say, okay, there is a program activated within Gauze. That program is a Savior program. And a lot of people say, can you please explain, how do you see that? Why do you see that? Why do you think it's a Savior program? Because the thing is, with this Savior programs, they're very clever. They're all about helping you, helping humanity, helping everybody else, and they come this softly sort of as the Savior. It used to be where they, in old days, they would just, like, let's say, black slaves here in America. What they did, they beat them so much until they accept Jesus. Well, that's not going to work these days. So what do? They change their tactics, and they come in very softly with this program. So the one with God's is very soft, because it's like, oh, I care for humanity so much, but here I am, and with that, like I said, here, it's got to be something that you got to run from. So you can run into the Savior, so you can be tricked into the Savior. But if there is no enemy, sort of, or nothing to be saved from, then, then you may not fall for that Savior. So what happened is, when that said, okay, there is no more Dracos, and then, oh, oops, there is the off-world Dracos, and those are nasty, and I am the only one who can remove a walk-in off-world Draco. Okay. That's what, that's sort of a sign. All right, how is that right over here? Because, here's the big scary wolf, the bad off-world Dracos, and I am the only one, Savior, who can save you from it. Simple as that. I know that some people, when they refuse to see things for what they are, they're going to try to complicate it and say, oh, it's very helpful and the person cares about humanity. Right now, all the Savior programs, and there's gazillions of them, harvesting organic quanta. They're harvesting your soul. And you know what? They're doing it in a nice way. They all care so much about humanity. I had given an examples before who, and I've called some names out, and I said, they're running a Savior program because there's an extreme duality, and they give you a bad wolf here that you can run from into their arms and into the astral levels, and you get trapped, and your soul gets trapped for another cycle, so it gets harvested. The thing is, I'm going to give you a few examples of different kinds of Savior programs that are running. You may not sort of see that right away. Like there is, we know a lot about CERN. We talk about CERN. And then there is, I talked about this in the video about CERN. Then there is people that have very much a Christian overtone to it, that talk about CERN. It's a very interesting thing because, and they talk a lot about CERN opening a pit. Okay? So they give you that, oh, be afraid of this pit, and here I am, trust Jesus, because Jesus saves you. So that's one of the simple ones. But yet when you dig really deep, The Savior usually is the one that will present you or show you what you need to be saved from. Just like what this video is about CERN. They're telling you a lot of details, there's twists and turns, and a little bit of truth, a little bit of lies, but for as long as it creates that big bad wolf that you need to run to, on the end of the video he tells you, but here's the Savior for you. Well, that sort of is a formula for most Savior programs. Some of it is hidden in some cases more than in other cases. But, you know, so I give you the simple ones. Then, you know, right now, the most, you know, about CERN. Then, you know, we have a whole bunch of other ones, you know, with aliens. You know, there's good aliens, and then they tell you, because it's the same source. Oh, the good one, Law 1, channeling. And, you know, it talks about harvest, about positive harvest and a negative harvest, okay? And when I read that years ago, I was like, oh, I got so scared. I didn't want to be harvested in a negative way, so I'm like, oh, I wish I would be harvested in a positive way. Well, then later on, I was like, wait a minute. Does it really matter which way I get harvested? I get harvested no matter what. Maybe I should rethink this and not be harvested at all. But then I looked deeper, and I was thinking, it's interesting how this rule sort of, all the Saviors sort of programs, they are the ones who are also bringing you, like I said, that bad side, or showing you who and what and how this thing is so scary and so horrible that you need this side. But yet that same information is coming through the same person. So it's got to be connected somewhere, right? I mean, it's got to be connected. If, let's say, these good aliens here are doing everything to save humanity, and then these bad aliens over here are want to, let's say, harvest our souls. How do these good aliens know everything what the bad aliens do? There is, if we dig deeper, there is going to be a connecting point there where it connects both of the sides. And this is what we are going to be able to see and be able to connect the dots once we recognize how harvest works and why the positive versus negative is a tool, and it is a matrix creation to harvest us. And you know, that thing, especially with Ashaya Nadine, I mean, she would like tell everything like what the fallen ones do, and then say, okay, and then because they're so bad, we need to do this and this and this, and you know, we need to do this kind of ritual and this kind of ritual and all of that stuff because the bad ones did it. And they were always in reaction mode to the bad ones, to the fallen ones. And it's like, interesting. I guess the fallen one and the Christics ones are having the meetings and exchanging information on what their plans are and what they're doing. Because how else would you know? But people can't not go that deep. They can't, because you have to take that veil of separation down. because these two have one and same source of energy. All right, and that's matrix light, extended light existence. This is what it will, both sides is working for. So I know that for some people they have a hard time seeing. In a most recent situation, it's like some people have a hard time seeing that savior syndrome being active, but it's there. It's there. It was much softer than, let's say, here, like, light versus dark and all of that stuff. It was a lot softer, but yet there was signs. And I should have seen it earlier, but I didn't, because it's hard when you're close to somebody, and it's harder to see, and maybe there was a denial on my part, because I did, looking back, I have seen some signs earlier, but I sort of, I guess, didn't want to look at it. So now I sort of want to talk about those things that are very noticeable, and maybe the first signs of that. And because we are on Earth's timeline, and because we're moving into this equality, they have to get a lot more clever with their savior programs, a lot more clever. And this is why it is hard to see, and this is why it was hard for me to see. And honestly, if I didn't go to HK class, I probably still wouldn't have seen it, because I sort of got a few pieces of my puzzle in that class that allow me to see it a little bit clearer. I almost felt for it. And looking back at it, the signs began probably a couple of months ago with gauze, when I saw the signs of certain things just feeling a little off, but yet I didn't look deep, because I knew this person for 7 years. But we're all can succumb to this programs, because they're getting more clever with it, and I almost got sucked in, but I didn't. So here I am, just being honest about it. And this one's hard for me, but at this point we are in the period of time when everything's going to be revealed. And if any of you watch my videos from a few years back, those little short videos that I made, and I did post them on my YouTube channel, there was in a couple of them I was talking about that on that time I had no idea how this time's going to look like. But the one thing I knew, it was going to be a revelation. A lot of things were going to be coming to the surface, and a lot of things will be revealed during this time. And it was the time around 2017. But then I in the beginning of this year, I knew that 2015 is the new 2017, and we're gonna have some interesting year. And oh boy, it's only we haven't barely got 6 months in, but whoa, what a 6 months it has been. And there is more to come. and there is a lot sort of that will come at us like a wall. And you know what I experienced recently, it felt like the wall was coming down on me. But then, you know, I've talked about it, and today is the next day, and all of it is gone. I've released it and said, okay, you know, it is what it is. I will not allow that to put me down, to sort of make me feel like I did something wrong. I am still, like everybody else, going through a healing process, and I'm still working on myself. So I'm not perfect, and I didn't notice things, and I let things slide even when I did notice them. But I'm still here, and I'm still standing strong, and I did not got sucked into it. And I know that experiencing this, there is going to be no next time like that, because this thing was trying to suck me in, and it was very clever. It was very clever. But here I am. I've talked about it. I've been honest with everybody about it. I've said what I needed to say, and I just wanted to talk about this because there's more of that tricky savior programs that are coming at us, and they're going to be coming at us fast, because there's very little time for them to activate that matrix timeline. If they don't succeed within the next 2 years, they don't succeed at all. So you bet, I can bet you that it's going to be crunch time for savior programs, because that's the way they harvest our souls. This is the way it has been. We know this from the Bible. We know that from history. That we sort of know. I mean, let's take a simple thing. Bible. What happens? Well, we sort of have the predictions, okay? That after the second coming, you know, what's going to happen? Destruction, new cycle, okay? So all the savior programs are always kind of tied together with the destruction on the planet. If you go back reading in the Bible, it may not be as obvious, but it's also going to be in there. The savior sort of thing and destruction. And a lot of times it's like saving you from destruction, or from the wrath of God or the devil or whoever. But right now, and I know Lisa and Dee had said this the other day on their show about a script for humanity. This is what savior programs do. They sort of write a script for us. And right now, they're feeling left out of the humanity script. They want to be written in. They want to be in on this. But humanity, we have been harvested many, many times before. And right now, we're on the end of that cycle where we are being harvested again. Are we going to fall for all this harvesting tricks again? Or are we finally going to stand up and say no more. No more. We're taking back ourselves. We're taking back our planet. We are, as human beings, are responsible and capable of taking care of ourselves. Thank you very much, astral beings, but we do not need saving from anything or anybody. We have our spirits to clear us, to work with us, and to empower us. You can take your saviors and leave our planet alone and leave humanity alone. We will figure out for ourselves how to move forward. And those that are willing, those human beings that are willing to take responsibility, that are willing to step in with this planet into passive return to source, then we'll figure it out how to create our reality from internal to external. We had enough of this interference. I think I speak for many, many people when I say we had enough of the saving. Keep saving us. There is a line of astral beings that wanted to try to save us. And it always ends up in disaster, as we know from history. So, thank you for the offer, but no. That's what I would say. Thank you, but no. You can take your savings and, keep it to yourself. I hope that my little rant about this just shows you guys the simple ways of seeing when we are being fooled into the same thing over and over and over again. So, yes, it has a makeover and, has nip and tuck. The Savior programs go through a lot of surgery before they release the new new sort of Savior programs. But if you see that there is something that they are saving you from, if it's there, whatever it is, it might be just mentioned a little bit, whatever it is, boom, it's a Savior program. Okay? Alright, well, this is getting long. Thank you very much for listening. I do hope that I've simplified, because that's what I do. That's the only thing I can do, is simplify things and not complicate them. And it is what it is. So thank you guys. Love you all.